Welcome to Community Health Matters. I'm your host, Amy Marsalis. On today's show, we'll learn about heart disease in women, the growing problem of antibiotic resistance, and autism resources and research. All of that coming up next on Community Health Matters. From the News Channel 5 network, this is Community Health Matters, sponsored by the United Health Foundation. Next, we're talking about autism resources as well as research right here in our own backyard at Vanderbilt. And I have two guests today, Lauren Weaver, Director of Community Engagement with TRIAD at Vanderbilt Kennedy Center, and Sarah Carpenter, who is the Outreach Coordinator at TRIAD at Vanderbilt as well. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Really an important topic, so many children diagnosed with autism in our community and around the United States. Let's start first with the program TRIAD and what that encompasses. Lauren, what does that really stand for?
Yes, TRIAD is the Treatment and Research Institute for Autism Spectrum Disorder, and it's a program at Vanderbilt Kennedy Center. And we're working to improve assessment, treatment, education, and community services for individuals with autism and their families while advancing knowledge and training in our community.
So when you talk about assessment, identifying autism, you typically would probably see a family, see children after they've already maybe been to see other specialists or pediatricians, or do they come to you first? How do they get to you?
It can be either. So they can, express concern to their pediatrician. The pediatrician would recommend coming to see a specialist or professional within psychology at TRIAD, and so they can come and get an assessment to kind of identify if there is autism or maybe another concern.
Okay, so for those people who are not familiar with what the autism spectrum is, because we know there are different levels of this condition, but the key thing is to identify it as early as possible so you can have the intervention and really help these children as much as possible. So what define this for us?
Yes, so autism is characterized by deficits in communicating and forming relationships with others, as well as using language and abstract concepts. And so there's just one diagnosis now that's actually a recent change. So we used to have the different levels of Asperger's, autism spectrum disorder, and that's actually changed because of some inconsistencies with the way that it was being diagnosed in different areas by different people. And so now it's just autism spectrum disorder.
That is fairly new. I hadn't heard of that. So tell us, maybe describe some of the, if you could, in layman's terms, some of maybe the physical characteristics or the behavior.
Yeah, so there are no physical attributes associated with autism, which just makes it challenging to identify, one, as a community member, how do I help this person who I can see is having a hard time or needs extra support? We don't have those physical attributes to know. We just see a child having a hard time in the grocery store. But some of the behaviors that we look for are delay in language, maybe having a hard time making eye contact or communicating with someone else, as well as some restrictive or repetitive behavior. So sometimes we see things like flapping hands, pacing back and forth, lining up toys, or playing with objects in an unusual or non-functional way.
You know, it's just atypical behavior.
Yes.
Okay, what does TRIAD do then? Once you get them in and you do the workup and the assessment, then what?
There are a lot of different avenues, but the most important thing is try to get services as fast as possible. So you mentioned a bit about early intervention is an important part of supporting someone with autism. So there is no cure for autism, but there are effective treatment options, and the most research-based treatment is applied behavior analysis therapy.
Okay, what does that mean?
A behavior analysis is a science that really looks at how people learn. And so we look at behaviors in the environment and setting it up so that a person who learns differently can be successful.
Sometimes these children can be mainstreamed, correct?
Yes, yeah. So one thing I love about my job is working with people with autism, because they're just like you and me, and
They
that they're
sure are.
unique,
Yes.
and have areas of strength that teach me new things all the time. One of my favorite people to work with works at Vanderbilt, and it has autism, and we have great conversations about things from craft beer to music. I love working
That's
with her.
fabulous. Okay, Sarah,
Yes.
why should Tennesseans get involved in this program, Spark? If you would define that and tell us why we need to know about it.
Yes, of course. So Spark is something really, really special. There's a network of 21 clinical sites across the United States, and we're trying to figure out new causes of autism, identify new genes related to ASD. And Tennesseans can benefit from participation. There's a potential to receive genetic results from participation, and there's compensation of up to $50. And we're really trying to advance the science and the research. Simon's Foundation is our project sponsor. They're out of New York City, and they've made this thing happen, and I represent Vanderbilt in the overall study.
And aren't you looking at, did you say 50,000?
Yeah, 50,000 families we're trying to engage with, and I think we're almost or maybe halfway there. We have a lot of work to do still, and we've been at this at Vanderbilt for 5 months, and we've got almost 1,800 participants in Spark, and it's incredible, but we need more. We simply just want to engage with as many families as we can, and hope that they find it beneficial.
Okay, if someone wants to get involved, what should they do? How can they contact you? I think we have some information, we do on the screen, but what else, how do they reach you?
So if the website's on the screen, it's sparkforautism.org/VU. I'll become your coordinator once you register. Registration happens completely online, which is also very cool. There's no appointments, there's no travel. We are collecting DNA, but it's in the form of saliva instead of blood, which makes it, I think, a little less painless to be a part of, and families are really loving that aspect. So just go to the website, register, and I'll be your coordinator. I'll be the one talking to the families and help you along if you have any questions.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so exciting for our community. I'm glad to hear of, and the fact that the change in how it's regarded, instead of including Asperger's syndrome.
Yes, so it's still that there's a spectrum.
Spectrum.
The way that the characteristics kind of are for every person is different, but we're able to more easily just talk about with autism as one diagnosis.
Okay. All right. Thank you both, Lauren and Sarah. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank
Good
you.
luck
Nice
with the
to meet
study
you.
too. Nice to meet you both.
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Thank you for watching Community Health Matters. Learn more ways to improve your health at mycommunityhealthmatters.org. And remember, here in Middle Tennessee, our community health matters.